In just a few minutes, the kids are going to be invited to bring the flowers that you all brought for our flower communion, but not quite yet. But those of you who are under the age of 18, get ready because we're going to need your help. This is one of my favorite services because it celebrates diverse community. How when we come together with all our colors and shapes and styles and life experiences and joys and sorrows and thorns and smells and hopes and fears, we create something beautiful together. Most of our UU congregations engage in this ritual each spring. And it was brought to us by the Reverend Norbert Čapek over 100 years ago. Some of you remember his story, and you will hear his words a few times in this service. Čapek was the founder of the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. And in 1923, after World War I, he created this flower communion ritual in a newly formed country barely 5 years old, trying to forge a national identity out of people with very different religious and ethnic backgrounds. He wanted to try and find a way to bring together a diverse group of people around something that they could share without argument. Beauty. Flowers. The ordinary made sacred. 20 years later, Čapek was arrested by the Gestapo for nurturing a free and inclusive community. He was sent to Dachau concentration camp and murdered there. I don't tell you this to dampen the joy of this morning. I tell you this because I think today especially, we need to remember it. This ritual quickly became a staple of the Czech Unitarian Church and was held annually. Čapek's wife, Maya, brought the ceremony to the United States in 1940, 2 years before her husband was murdered. This ritual that we are going to do together has brought hope and beauty around the world and through similar kinds of moments that we are living in right now. And beloveds, please know, we are in a similar moment. Here we are on the first Sunday of June, Pride Month, no matter what the governor of Indiana says. Right? And while we gather here, people are on a hunger strike in a detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, in conditions that members of Congress have described as inhuman, at a time when many of us are exhausted by the slow grind of fear and powerlessness. And just a couple of days ago, the Department of Defense announced that it is removing 180 religious affiliations from the military's official list, including ours. Unitarian Universalists, along with humanists, atheists, pagans, and many others, including those who are African Methodist Episcopal, a historically black denomination, will now simply be filed under other. 2/3 of the faiths that remain on the list are Christian denominations. When the government gets to decide whose faith counts and whose does not, that is not streamlining. That is erasure. And the bureaucratic erasure of minority communities, like the trans communities, like same-sex families, like people in these faiths, and so many other communities. The bureaucratic erasure of minority communities is another documented step towards fascism. Čapek knew these dangers. He and Maya and the Unitarians in Czechoslovakia said, "This is worth doing." Our community, with its radical insistence that every person is sacred, this gathering of different people around shared beauty, this is worth it. So yes, These flowers that we are going to see are beautiful, and they represent our diversity in our diverse community, and they are also resistance. Chapek created this ritual because the state wanted to define who belonged together and who was sacred and whose community was worth protecting. And they said, no, all flowers are beautiful. All flowers are worthy. All flowers are needed in the bouquet. Bouquet. Bouquet? Bouquet? All of us are needed. So here we are, bringing our flowers, all of us, every shape and color and configuration of beloved human being in this room and online, doing a defiant thing. Welcome to the resistance. And these flowers are always so beautiful and chaotic, right? I love to look at what people bring. I get a little view of them right now. Some people pick them from their yards, others grab something along the way. Sometimes we get grocery store bouquets, sometimes we get things that are very exotic. My favorite, though, is when I see someone bring a lone dandelion. Usually, but not always, it is a young child. Not today, Matt Russell. Dandelion clutched in hand, looking very serious about it. They're often picked up in their own yard or in the churchyard. On the way here, I will tell you, it was actually kind of hard to find dandelions in the churchyard this morning. Dandelions are not glamorous. Depending on your perspective, either they're a weed or they're a wildflower essential for pollinators. Whatever your perspective, they are very persistent. Give them a meadow, a patch of soil, the middle of a paved parking lot, and a dandelion will find a way to grow. And while it's at it, it will feed the pollinators. They're very important. Don't kill them. I have always had a soft spot for dandelions. In fact, I've often thought of myself as a dandelion. I find a way to grow wherever I am planted. Give me a crack in the sidewalk, a congregation in transition, and I will find a way to bloom. I am going to be testing this theory pretty thoroughly when I leave UUI at the end of this month. I will be living out of my minivan and traveling around the continent. I'll also be beginning a new ministry as the minister of Bradford Community Church, our UU congregation in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It's a hybrid ministry, part of the year in residence and part of the year remote. We're trying something new and different, and we hope it might help other congregations and ministers imagine new possibilities for relationships in the future, which feels pretty right for a dandelion, I think. And I have bloomed here these last 3 years, and I carry you with me. 3 years is long enough to be changed by a place, and you have changed me, and I have changed you because you did the work. You showed up again and again to this beautiful, defiant thing we do here at UUI, and you are a healthier, more vibrant, more strongly planted than you were 3 years ago. It's all cross-pollination, right? In a few minutes, you're going to take home a flower that somebody else brought, which is in many ways the whole point of this ritual. We don't leave with what we arrived with. We leave changed, carrying something from each other. And then after the flowers, we'll be gathering for your congregational meeting, which, if you think about it, is just another version of this exact same ritual. You bring what you have, someone else brings what they have, and together you create something that none of you could have created alone. You bring what you have. You choose what to carry forward. You trust the bouquet. And that is what Chapek gave us. And that is why we continue to do this ritual every year, to remind ourselves and each other that what we do is not conventional. It is not dominant culture. This, beloveds, is resistance. So, now, younglings, there are a whole bunch of flowers that I need you to go and get and bring forward, and we're gonna put them on this table up here, and we're gonna consecrate the flowers, which just means make sacred, and we're gonna bless them and say a bunch of words, and then you'll get to take some flowers home again. Let's get the flowers. Bring the flowers forward, please.